Good morning, children, and welcome to all of you in online classes. Dear students, we are doing revision for academic performance evaluation, and it will be started from 9th July. As I have told you in previous video that for your coming test, 3 chapters will come, or for that we are revising firstly the first chapter, the portrait of a lady, which has been written by one of the renowned writers of our country, or his name is Khushwant Singh. Mr. Khushwant Singh worked as a politician, diplomat, writer, journalist, and he got even many awards: Padma Vibhushan, Padma Bhushan. Dear students, or in previous video we discussed the author's relationship with his grandmother, or in that we discussed 2 phases. There are 3 phases of author's relationship, Khushwant Singh's relationship with his grandmother. In phase 1 we discussed that when the writer was in his village with his grandmother, he was spending almost all the time with his grandmother. Even he was accompanied by his grandmother to school also. We discussed that how grandmother tried to teach him, tell him all good things, how she tried to tell him the scriptures. For that she was reciting the prayers loudly. Writer loved his voice, her voice, but never to pain to remember the prayers. We also discussed about the second phase, when the writer and his grandmother both migrated to the city. When writer got admission in English medium school, when he was going to school in motor bus, or most of the time he was busy in school work or getting less time to talk to his grandmother. Dear students, we also discussed that how grandmother was worried and sad to know that there was no lesson of no lessons and no teachings about religions. For that she was very sad. She was sad also that the teachers were teaching students music and dance. She thought that the music and dance are not the work of good people, these things are learnt by, practiced by prostitutes and beggars. Up to this we discussed in the previous video, means phase 1 and phase 2. Dear students, this writer Khushwant Singh, in phase 3, he got admission in university. Or when Mr. Khushwant Singh, the author, the narrator of the story, he got admission in university, so after that he was getting less time to talk to his grandmother, because separate room was allotted to him. Or as separate room was allotted to him, so very less time he was getting, or you can say no time he was getting to talk to his grandmother. In village, in first phase, living 24 hours together, sleeping, eating, studying, everything under the guidance of grandmother. In second phase, their relationship became weaker in comparison to first phase, because writer got admission in English medium school. But in third phase, dear students, their relation, their emotional bonding, their friendship was snapped. And due to that, dear students, grandmother accepted her loneliness. She accepted that she had to live alone. Or for that, dear students, she engaged herself, grandmother engaged herself in other work. And she engaged herself with spinning wheels, or always busy with spinning wheels. And she was busy in prayers also, because she was a very religious lady. Grandmother is a very religious lady. So two works mainly she was doing: prayer and busy on spinning wheels. Apart from that, dear students, in afternoon, grandmother used to stop all her work, and she was feeding sparrows. Or she used to break the chapatis into small pieces and giving to the sparrows. In village, she was giving to the stray dogs. Or here in city, she was giving to the sparrows. Or every afternoon, hundreds of the sparrows they used to collect. They were collecting all around grandmother. Some were sitting on her shoulder, on her head. Or this 30 minutes was the happiest time, happiest moment of her day. Or she never took pain to frighten the sparrows which were sitting on her shoulder or on her head. Dear students, so in this way she engaged herself. In this way she was spending her time, grandmother of Khushwant Singh. I want to tell you, dear students, after that what happened? After that, the writer Khushwant Singh got opportunity to go abroad and to study there. As grandmother was very old, writer was thinking that he was going abroad for 5 years, or after coming abroad he will not get his grandmother will not be alive. Or when he was going abroad for higher education, at that time grandmother came to station also. Understood? Or she kissed the writer forehead. Or writer Khushwant Singh was thinking that it was the last physical contact between him and his grandmother. He was thinking. But after 5 years, when again he returned, when again he came back, he found his grandmother in the same position, or she welcomed grandson Khushwant Singh warmly. Understood? No change in her physical appearance. Dear students, or what happened after that, and after coming from abroad, grandmother here welcomed the writer as warrior, as soldiers used to return from battlefield, and they are welcomed, they are given warm welcome. The same warm welcome was given by grandmother to Khushwant Singh after returning from abroad. Or even in afternoon, dear students, she collected the locality women. She arranged one old drum, or she started beating drum. She started singing. Writer is telling that it was the first time when she stopped her prayer, because before that she was always busy in prayers. Understood? It was the first time that she stopped, or she sang and on that day with full joy with other locality women. But unfortunately in evening or next morning, dear students, she fell ill. Grandmother of Khushwant Singh became ill. Or as she became ill, dear students, so doctor was called. They called the doctor, or it was mild fever. Doctor even given his concern that she will be recovered very soon. But what was grandmother's opinion was something different. She told that it is not the normal fever, it is the fever of death. Or finally, dear students, grandmother died on that day. Understood? Or even at the last moment of her life, the family members wanted to talk to her, they wanted to discuss something with her, but she did not spend a single minute in other activities. She was only busy in prayer, telling beads. Or finally, the rosary fell from her lifeless finger on the earth. Or when the rosary fell on the ground, the family members concluded that grandmother was no more. Or finally, after that, the funeral procession was done. Or all arrangements were completed. Her body was covered with red shroud, grandmother's dead body. Or at that time when the process of cremation was going on, dear students, thousands of the sparrows which were coming in the afternoon, and grandmother was enjoying while feeding them. Those sparrows came and sat on that day, but they did not create any noise. They did not created any sound. They were sitting silently. Even the writer's mother, she brought chapatis and she broke into the pieces and she threw it to sparrows, but they did not pay attention on that. Or silently, when her dead body was taken for the cremation, grandmother's dead body was taken for the cremation at that time. After that, the sparrows, they flew away. Two means the sparrows, the birds were also emotional and sad. They wanted to give their tribute and homage to grandmother. Writer was very much upset. Understood? Though there were many ups and downs in their friendship. In first phase, very close relation, very strong relation. In second phase, when shifted to the city, it became weaker. In third phase, when he got admission in university, the relation was snapped, broken. But you cannot say it was completely broken. Writer Khushwant Singh and his grandmother both were mentally attached and mentally connected to each other. They were not far away from each other. Understood? So this is the total description of this lesson, total detail of this lesson, or you will read the lesson, dear students. 2 or 3 questions will come in your exam, so you have to read this particular chapter thoroughly. If you have any confusion, you may ask to me. Thank you, dear students.